Hi, I'm Louis. I work with the advice team in Shelter in Manchester. We give advice around homelessness prevention. We support tenants with disrepair. We give second-tier advice to agencies across Manchester. But I think my favourite thing of all the things I do in my job, my favourite thing actually is supporting Vicky and her team at the school. All the staff that go to the school say that they find the enthusiasm infectious, and we really find it quite rejuvenating. So, as everyone's touched on throughout the day, we're in the middle of a housing emergency. Rents are increasing in the private sector. More affordable properties, they often have issues with disrepair, and it's really very important that we get advice out into the community. I think hopefully the at-home expansion proposal does do that. If we just look at the key features of the model, I think really working with the school, I think what's come across more than anything really is what makes it different to other kind of a different way of accessing for families accessing support really is that kind of special relationship that schools have with their families. There's lots of families that perhaps don't engage with support services. That can be because English is a second language, or health issues, or lack of knowledge. But schools, they reach this group of people because families trust schools, and they will bring their problems which they can't resolve themselves. They'll bring to school for help. The second point really, so if we can upskill school staff with housing knowledge, they're able to triage families into support and services. I think one real good advantage of that is it's a single point of contact for families. So families get that continuity of support. They don't get lost in this complex system. And there's a multidisciplinary partnership at the school overseeing the project. Having the local authority on board is really made a difference. The project aligns with Manchester's strategy to tackle inequalities. And on the group which oversees the project, it really does feel like everyone's working together to try and get better outcomes for families. And lastly, the systems change element. Schools have an excellent knowledge of their families. They can gather data, and they can also put forward case studies. But I think separate to that, I think because schools, Vicky's not in the housing system, and I think what she does bring to the table, which is something different, similar to shared health, is that they give a fresh perspective on housing issues. They are able to be critical of practices that have been going on for a long time, and they can identify where the system can be changed and should be changed. The expansion proposal, as Vicky's touched on before, will deliver rights awareness training to school staff. We'll offer consultancy support and take on cases. And the areas which we expand into, we'll look to form local steering groups. Citizens Advice are fully committed, and that's really good because they've got expertise in the areas of debt, welfare benefit, and they also have specialist teams which can help with energy costs. And I think really the upstreaming of that advice, it'll help families make informed choices at an earlier point, and hopefully it'll map a pathway out of their map a pathway so they can improve their position. So it's a phased expansion. We've started working with a cluster of schools in South Manchester, and we're learning as we go along. We're finding that, as you probably all knew, but all schools have slightly different management structures. They have different resources. So the expansion, it hasn't been as coordinated as we would have wanted. Joanne is going to introduce us to like head teachers and managers in the cluster of schools where we're working. I think that really will help drive things forward in a coordinated manner. So in the next academic year, we're going to expand into other areas of Manchester. I know my manager, he's trying to get some additional funding, and the overall plan is to expand across Greater Manchester. I think the experience of trying to expand in South Manchester, and also because we do get a lot of queries from schools, I think it's really taught us that we need to kind of like expand at a more strategic level. So we're going to form a coordination group. So the coordination group, along with other things, it can identify priority areas to expand into, and it also can ensure the fidelity of the model. I think as regards the fidelity of the model, I think the most important thing is recognising that some families need more support than others. We don't want a one-size-fits-all model where everyone gets the same service. Some families are going to need more support than others to effectively tackle the situation they're in. So I think that's one important thing we really need to keep as the model moves forward. And collaboration, I think stronger together. I think it's a really good example of how different charities and statutory services can work together. We've all got different skills and expertise. I'm a hard-bitten advice worker. Vicky's brilliant with families, but having Vicky and her team on is really good, because I think we've all got a common goal, and that is everyone wants to get better outcomes for families. And lastly, I'm sure the slides will be shared, but if anyone's got any queries or any questions, just please contact myself or my service manager, Linda. So thank you very much.